Thank you for joining in the 2 Cents Podcast. I'm your host, Nino. Thank you, people, for the subscription. Thank you for being a loyal customer, a loyal, audience. Thank you for letting me take a little time in your daily schedule and share opinions that I have. Thank you for the subscription, continued subscriptions. Appreciate it to my people all out there. What up, David? What up, C? What up, Axe? What up, Donnie? Marco? B.A. Humph? What up, people? What up, Ross Strickland? Thank you to all my people. That's a little of my partners that, to hold me down and everything. I've been knowing them for a long time. I appreciate their subscribers too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, thank you to the ladies that be following me. I appreciate you too. Thank you for your input. Thank you for wanting me to give you a few of my opinions on the little things that you're going through. Matter of fact, this topic that I'm going to talk on today is about a lady. She said that she has met this guy, or a young lady. She has met this guy, and she's really digging him. She's really, really, really digging him. But he seems like he's too laid back, or he seems like he's not interested, or maybe he just too laid back. But what I'm thinking is, what she is giving out, he is not giving back, and then she's probably reading it wrong, because a lot of times people are just laid back and cool like that. That don't mean that because you can be very upfront, a kind of affection, that the other person is not that way. It's just that you might be more out forward with it, or you might be more upfront with it, or you might show it more. But anyway, this is a topic that she sent to me. She said, Nino, if you really love someone, can you be too persistent? That's an interesting topic. Let me say this again. If you really love someone, can you be too persistent? Yes, it is possible to be too persistent in love, even if the feelings are genuine, which persistence can be seen as a positive trait in relationships. It can easily cross the line, though, turn into harassment or stalking, if not balanced with respect for the other person's boundaries or feelings. And let me read that again. Yes, if you really love someone, can you be too persistent? Yes, it is possible to be too persistent in love, even if the feelings are genuine. While persistence can be seen as a positive trait in relationships, it can easily cross the line, turn into harassment or stalking if it's not balanced with respect for the other person's boundaries or feelings. Of course. But I know a lot of times I think people, like I'm thinking this young lady, she's really liking this guy. Obviously she loves this guy. And not saying that he don't love her. Maybe she has fell in love with this guy. He just loved her. So, you got to remember, Pete, in love is more deeper than love. And so what I believe is she is a person that really wants to show it. A lot of times when people show by actions, they are more blatant with their actions. And I believe what she is doing a lot to show, she is calling him all the time. She wants to spend every minute of the day with him. She wants to, if they have had a night together, if they have, chilled out together and everything, she want to do that on an everyday basis. And I'm thinking that what he is saying is he's digging her, he's feeling her too, but just give a little bit of space. See, she is real clingy, seems like. And I don't think all the time it can be too much that she is stalking, a person is stalking, or maybe harassment. Intentionally, they just really loving, but then you can see how things going on where you can just be too much want to be hands-on with a person, it can seem like that they are doing too much. You know, they are bugging you too much. They are stopping you too much. But, you know, a lot of times I don't think it's intentional. But then again, as I said in the intro, it's a fine line, and then you got to respect the other person's boundaries and, you know, what they do and how they see things. You got to respect their boundaries, their emotions, and their feelings. Persistence can be problematic. Ignoring rejection. Repeatedly pursuing someone after they have clearly expressed a lack of interest can be disrespectful and hurtful. Listen, and I'm just going to say this. I don't care how much you like somebody. If they don't like you, nip it in the bud right there. Stop it. Move on. Stop it. Because it's never going to be genuine. You're going to give out so much because you like them, and they're not going to be able to reciprocate it. They're not going to be able to match what you're giving out. So that's not only, you know, not a good look toward them, you devaluing yourself. You're lessening yourself. Be patient. Find somebody that much as you giving out will give back to you, because you can find that. I mean, I have seen there so many instances where the one principal like the other principal way more, and they really just went, you know, far and beyond. They went real hard. They went overboard trying to gain this person not only their attention, but gain their love, gain their approval, want this person to be with them, and it never happened. And they was just, you know, the person that was just giving more was just, you know, they was crippling themselves. You know, they was penalizing themselves, because what I mean about that, they was doing all that in which they should have just stopped. I know a lot of times you like a person and a person don't like you. And a lot of times you like a person, you like the wrong person. Because I'm a firm believer, and this is a question, this is what my mom put on my mind when I was younger. Always kind of be with or take interest in that who like you more than you like them. And I'm just saying, anybody. Make sure that somebody really likes you. Test them. You know, if you ain't got to test them. Don't be the one always give it and don't receive. Because that's not how it go. Because, see, the bar's going to be uneven then. If you always give it, then receive it, and then you're only going to be miserable and hurting yourself. And you're worthy of more than that. Don't go through that. Don't go through that. Don't be too persistent. Love, be right, and show your feelings with love, but make sure that the love that you're giving out, that it's going to come back to you. Believe that. Disregarding boundaries. Continue to contact, pursue, or try to be with someone who has stayed. Let me repeat this. Disrespecting boundaries. Continue to contact, pursue, or try to be with someone who has stated that they need space or don't want to be involved is a violation of their boundaries. You only got to tell me one time. You only got to tell me one time. And again, peeps, don't always wait for the actual words come out of a person's mouth. Read their body language. It's cool to be able to read energy, read somebody's body language, because a lot of times when by the time they gonna tell you that, it can be in a real derogatory way, and it can really hurt you more than you would ever thought to. Because see, what it is, you're being so persistent and you're overlooking it, and they might just want to be nice, but by the time they want to tell you what they words, a lot of times they're fed up. So they're going to just be cold out, cruel, and tell you, hey, I'm not feeling you. I've never been feeling you. That's why I say piggyback off the part about always, if you can, read a person's body language. And you can see, you can tell about the little things people do that they not feeling you. I'm not trying to say you got to be a mind reader. I'm not trying to say you have to be one of these zodiac signs that can just read people and read people energy, but you can tell common sense things that you do with your so-called partner on a daily basis, and you can tell where they're not digging you. Because if it's always where you're always putting the most money in, or you're always doing the buying, or you always, got the foot number, you always got to drive your car, or you always got to, come out your wallet or come out your purse for gas, that's not equal admiration. That's not equal admiration. That's one person doing too much, being too persistent to another person. And the sad thing about that is that person that's giving more or doing the things I just mentioned, that other person will just use you for that. They don't like you, but see, they keeping their money in their pocket. They're riding around in your vehicle all the time. Every time something going down, they using your home or your loft or your lair. See, they're never coming out nothing when it comes to y'all doing something. It's not fair, because a relationship is equal. It's equal. Everybody, this time you do this, the next time they do this. That's how a relationship is. But if you too persistent, you got to be able to read that. It don't take no time. It don't take no time. So just keep up the breath with that. Keep up the breath with that. But I will say this. Read in between the lines. Check out the little old body language. Feel the energy. Because it's there. Obsessive behavior. If your pursuit of someone becomes obsessive, controlling, or focused on your desires rather than their well-being, it's likely cross into an unhealthy territory. Well, see, if you're being persistent just because what you want, that's not only being, you can be manipulative, you kind of being a narcissist. You being persistent. If this person telling you, no, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to go down that road. No, that's not the type of thing that I'm used to. You have to respect that. Because persistence a lot of time can be selfish. Now, persistence can be, as I mentioned earlier, it can be this straight up, down to earth love and trying to really give with somebody that you like, admire, want to spend some time with. But a lot of time, persistence can be, toxic behavior. You're trying to be manipulative. You're trying to manipulate, or narcissism. See, you being persistent because you're thinking that that person is weak, so you want to prey on them, but you want to keep being pushy and pressured in. And see, persistence overboard is nothing but too much pressure. And nobody never wants to be pressured. And that's unhealthy. And you can push a person too much where not only they'll get rid of you, there'll be consequences. Things can happen. Especially if you be, controlling and only about your desires. You can't do that. You got to, again, everything is equal when you trying to be in a relationship. You can, how can I say this? You can be too in love. You can love too much. You can be too persistent with being in love. You can be too persistent from loving. Kind of just chill out and let everything flow. Because, let them meet you. Let them meet you evenly in a nice, common space. And y'all do things together. But make sure, don't be too much always, trying to push the issue. Always trying to, won't leave it alone. If they say no, it's no. No means no. Creating fear. Being overly persistent can make the other person feel uncomfortable, unsafe, fearful, which is never healthy or a loving outcome. Well, see, that's what I'm trying to say. Today, how things are going on, you being too persistent, that other person will look at you as, are you finna try to violate them? Or what is really the problem? You could be a sociopath. You could be a killer because, listen, nobody wants to be made to do nothing. But if I done tell you no and you keep going down that same avenue, that's not good. That's very unhealthy. That's not a loving outcome. You're making them feel uncomfortable. You're making them feel unsafe. They're not only going to break up with you, they're going to get the authorities in. They're going to get a restraining order against you because you're going too far. We ain't even talking about the relationship is over with. They're at the point now where they will get a restraining order. Okay, I don't want to do nothing with you, but I don't even want you certain feet close to me or toward me. I don't even want you in the vicinity of me. You can be too persistent. It's good to be persistent in some things because a lot of times, a lot of women like to be pursued. You ever heard that old saying? I have even done this myself, peeps, and I can vouch for this. I was able to not only become attached to, but she was my girlfriend for a while, a beautiful lady back when I was younger. But I was persistent on trying to get her number and take her out on a date. Now, once we dated, I chilled and the persistent left, but I was just persistent on getting her number and I didn't give up. And she had told me she had a guy, she had told me she wasn't interested. She had told me right now she didn't want to even date, but I was persistent and I got a number. But now, after I got a number, then I went back in cool mode. See, they like you to be, women, they'll like you if you want to be, a mate might like you if you're persistent that way of getting that number. But once you get with them, with the persistence of now, y'all a couple, and you're doing too much on the love tip of being in love, that's the scariest thing. Because with how relationships are going these days and how people have, mental health problems, so much stress. So people, and this I'm talking about, this is men and women, they'll get kind of scared of that. They gonna, you too persistent. I tell you no again and you steady just won't quit. That's gonna raise up a lot of red flags. I can't deal with it. I gotta let you go. And I think a lot of people think just because they're attractive, and this is men and women, they can be bold and persistent, and the other one just, fall in line and be down with it. But no, they won't do that because, like I say, with all these kind of disorders and everything out here, man, people are very leery. People I see now on relationships, they just want a cool, laid-back relationship, but they want to be equal in, okay, when it comes to you ask me something, I can say yes, and we cool with it. But if you ask me something, I can say no, and we cool with it. Same thing, it goes to you. You can ask me something. I can ask you something and you say yes. I can ask you something, or you can ask me something and I can say no, and we all cool with it. That's just how it goes down. Leveling out. Respect boundaries. Pay close attention to how the other person's responds to your advances and adjust to your behavior accordingly. That's what I'm going to say. When you're trying to get with a person and they might tell you something that you don't want to hear, you can be in one temperament, one emotion right then and there. Don't lose your cool. If they've been saying something the whole time that you like and you rolling with it, soon as you say something that you don't like, don't go bipolar on them. Don't go bipolar on them. You should be able to be so cool, laid back, and calm to when it's all good and yes, you smiling, to when it's all good and no, you smiling. You dig what I'm saying? Don't snap. Because see, all that is long as you getting what you want, then you gracious. But when you don't get what you want, then you become toxic. And see, that's bipolarism. That's like you got some kind of mental disorder. People ain't rolling with that. Communicate clearly. Express your feelings honestly. Express your feelings directly. But also be open to hearing and respecting their response. If I'm going to tell you something and I expect you to honor what I'm saying, when you tell me something, I have to honor what you say. This is not a one-way street. This is not, oh, well, long as I tell you something, then it's all good in my favor. What I like, everything is what I'm telling you, okay, now this is how we going to have to roll, or this is how it's going to be, this is how it's going to go down. Laws have been set, but everything you have said or something you have said, we're not going to even compromise or think about it. No, that's not right. That's not right at all. That's going to bring up, make your eyebrow raise up too. Because see, now again, it's only like what you want is cool, but you're not respecting the emotion and the feelings of your partner, what they want. You got to be even with this. You can't, that's another thing about being persistent. Chill out on the persistence. How about going to it like this? Okay, well then, say, sweetie, how about I pick you up, and then I get you back home a certain time because I got to go to work. And then you mind if, on the way home, I can, on the way, after we done went out and ate, or we done went out and went to a movie and ate, you mind on the way back, I can stop and pick up something right quick because I want to add something to my lunch. Run that through her or him like that. Do you need something? And then I also say, do you need something? Respect and set what you want and what you think, how your boundaries and your emotions should be, but I also respect and consider what they want and what their emotions should be, and just, try to keep it even. Don't always, again, don't make it one-sided. What I mean one-sided, don't make it three sides to they want. You overwhelmingly always get what you want, but not only that they don't get what they want, you're not even considering. That's being too persistent. That's all about me, me, me. And it's so in a relationship, it's supposed to be about us, or our. Consider the other person's feelings. If your actions are causing them distress or making them uncomfortable, it's time to reevaluate. Well, you got to stop it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, any real woman or any real man, however is going with it, any real person that value themselves, they're going to cut it off. They're not going to go through that. Especially if y'all starting out. They're not going to go through that. They just want to have fun. Especially if y'all just met. If y'all are just met and still based on a friendly tip, or even if y'all done went a little bit far and maybe the love has came in it but not in love, still people want to have fun. And I have seen people love and in love. And all of a sudden, the relationship went sour because one person became too much narcissism or became too much about me, and was too persistent. And I done had enough. I don't want to go no further than this. I want to leave this alone. You know, I like you, and I was having love for you. I see myself could love you, but how you started out, now you done changed as we done went deeper into the relationship. Seek professional help. If you find yourself struggling to manage your own emotions or behaviors in this area, consider seeking counseling or a therapist. Well, yeah, because a lot of times when you get in relationships and you always getting everything you want, a lot of people really are not ready for relationships. They're not. A lot of times, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. When it comes to persistence, a lot of times, especially if a man is kicking it with a woman, he just want a piece of trim. That's all he want. You know, us as men is what we do wrong again. We'll tell a woman we'll love them, get caught up in their emotions just to get in their panties, and then once you done did that, and then in the aftermath, you want to leave her alone. You was persistent to keep that going because you wanted to get them draws, but after you got them draws, you done, and now she feel like you done did her wrong, and a lot of women ain't take it, and then a lot of women isn't taking that, so then when they go psycho, they start tripping on you, then you like, man, what's wrong with this woman? But see, you caused that, because for one thing, you should have kept it a buck. All you want to do is, kick it and make it, all you basically want to be was a friend with benefits. You said that love thing because you're not a man enough or a person enough to say, I just want to be a friend and I want to hit. But you said that love thing because you think that's what she wanted to hear, and that'd be the quickest way to get her panties down. And you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that at all. Just keep it away. I'm just saying, in today's, how things are going, in today's world, I'd rather be point blank. If you see an attractive woman, if a woman see an attractive man, just see how you really feel. A lot of times, a woman just want to get with a man because she want to, she want him to knock him off. She wants some of the D. They're just like that too. Women want some of the D, like a man wants to get some trim. It all goes the same thing. Just keep it, just keep it 100. But you can't be too persistent if you love or see yourself loving somebody. It has to be equal. You have to be patient. Love is about patience too. Relationships are about patience. And I had to learn that. It's about patience. You can't move too fast, You can't move too fast because that scares people. See, persistence a lot of times is moving too fast. And that scares people. Because why you moving so fast? Why you hurrying up? Why you can't be patient? I done seen a man and a woman tell their partner or the person they was interested in, I like you a lot. You got a lot of potential. I can see myself with you. But why you trying to move so fast? Why you going so fast? Why you being so persistent? Chill and go with the flow. If you really love someone, can you be persistent? Hell yeah, you can. Now, I'm going to say it again. I don't think all the time it's somebody that just trying to be toxic or trying to, it's not on the harassment tip or nothing like that or stalking. I think a lot of times people are just, they probably haven't been in a relationship and they found somebody that they really like, so they really want to show them with their actions, so they're doing a lot. But again, you can be too persistent, and it can be harassment, and it has been stalking. So you got to communicate. You got to set that out and let your partner know. Always communicate. Remember, I always tell y'all in every relationship, always communicate. So whether the first part I just mentioned about, if you're very persistent, you just haven't found love before and you really want to show it, or if you're very persistent and, you are kind of harassing and, you kind of are stalking, you got to communicate because you got to let people know. Because like I say, how things are in this day and how so many relationships, people have came up missing, people have came up unalive, etc., etc. You can't be too pushy. And persistence is another form of being pushy. If you really love someone, can you be too persistent? Two Pennies, my podcast. I'm Nino. Thank you.